Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream. I am joined today by Dr. Dionne Clemons, and my name is Liz Scott. I'm the CEO here at Brighter Strategies, and Dionne and I have been working together for, I think, almost a decade. Is that right, Dionne?
I think more. I think I met you in 2012. So whatever, how many years is that? I don't know.
Oh
12?
my gosh. Yes,
And
well, we were 12 when we met in 2012, and it's been a wonderful journey. And I know that you are one of our favorite coaches. Folks love working with you. And so I wondered if you could start just by telling us a little bit about your path to coaching, what drew you to this work, just a little bit of, background information for those who may not know you.
Sure, I started coaching. I got my certificate at Howard University in 2017. And the reason I went back to get the certificate is because I was doing strategic communication consulting with executives at the time, and I just couldn't understand why they weren't seeing the relationship between how they lead and communicating strategically. And I was like, something's missing here. So I found the coaching program, and the way I was trained is to work on leaders' weakness behaviors. So if you are a micromanager, or if you are have anxiety, or if you're like have anger issues, time management, etc., it works the person through that so that they can become a better leader. And that was the key. And I was like, oh, okay, they need to work on themselves. And so that's been very helpful in both fronts. So helping leaders become better leaders, and then also helping them communicate strategically within their organizations.
So I know, talking to you as you talk with leaders, creativity comes up a lot in our conversations, but it also comes up in how you talk about your work and your coaching. How does that show up for you in the coaching context?
Yeah, I typically introduce my clients to the concept of creativity around managing their time, looking at their habits. I do a lot of personal research on trying to manage myself. And
Mm.
you have to get outside of yourself and the societal expectations of how you do whatever you do. And that requires creativity. That requires you to think outside of the matrix, as the people say, and get beyond the 9 to 5 and say, okay, well, how do I want to live? What do I want? And a lot of people are really afraid of doing that. And so that's the lens that I come from when it comes to creativity, just thinking about how to creatively lead your own life.
So do you find that clients are surprised when creativity enters the conversation, or how do they respond when you start using some of those words?
Yeah, I don't use the words immediately because it
Oh,
does freak them out. I use a lot of different tools. There's a process that I go through. The first process is to ask them about their future selves. And so that's when the creativity enters the conversation, because honestly, people don't think about their future selves outside of work. And if they've gotten to the leadership role, they don't think that there's anything else. And so to get them to think beyond, okay, now you're, CEO of whatever it is, what else? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to do? Where do you want to live? That makes them start thinking, oh, okay, well, what is that? And that's when we start doing some future thinking. As you know, I love future thinking. I consider myself to be like a futurist. Um, and most leaders, once they get to the place where they've reached their place, CEO, executive, whatever, they think that's it. And this is where I come in to say, no, hold on, let's think a little bit beyond this title.
so I know you practice what you preach. You've done some future thinking on yourself, and you made a pretty bold personal pivot in your own life just
Mhm.
a couple years ago to go to fashion school. And so I'm wondering, what was some of that personal visioning, or what was the decision behind that, and how does that infuse with your work as a coach?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a fashion designer. People may not know that, but everything that I have done leading up to this point was like, how can I get into fashion? How can I make clothes? And once my only child went off to college, I was like, oh, it's time. And so I had been looking at MFA programs. I'm getting my master's in fine arts in fashion, body, and garment at the School of the Art Institute, Chicago, which is ridiculous, amazing. I don't even know how I got in there. But um, I have been looking at programs since 2013, since we met, looking in London, looking in Paris. The kid was 6, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? But I just kept putting that out there to the universe that this is what I want to do. And then I started moving towards it, taking classes, sewing, etc., going to craft shows, making stuff, messing up. And so to all those things are the same things that I ask my executive folks to do. Like test yourself, push yourself. What else do you want to do? Do you have hobbies? Do you know how many people do not have hobbies, which is crazy? Like try new things, go new places, do things that scare you. Like we're all so conformed to society to just, I'm going to get up and go to work and do the work and do the emails. That's not going to make you a good leader. What makes you a good leader is to have a whole life outside of work that you can bring to your folks so that you can have bigger conversations, so that you can show folks that I do things that are scary and you can do things that are scary as well. And so that's it. And there's so many other things around, like this program is teaching me about, how to have art practice. This is what I was already teaching people in coaching, which is how do you set your life up for doing the work? Where is your workspace? How often do you work? Are you disciplined? When we don't have structure, we typically don't know how to build our own structure. That is a really big challenge for folks. And so being an artist, if you ever have artist friends, they build their own structure. They don't have bosses. And if you are a boss, you really don't have a boss. And so you no longer know how to boss yourself. And so these are the things that I try to coach folks around.
So what about that person who might be listening to this, watching this, and they're like, okay, that's awesome, but I'm just not a creative person, right? Like, what do you say to that person?
We're all creative. What do you mean? Everybody's creative. When you put on clothes, the things you decide to wear is a creative act. What you decide, if you're a chef, if you decide to make a certain egg dish or whatever, that's a creative act. Oh. Everything we touch, anything you see design-wise, when you pick a lamp, that's a creative act. So just think about the small things. How you decide to organize your team is a creative act. How you decide to introduce a new project is a creative act. Like everything we do is creative because we were brought here to create.
I love that. So if people are listening to you now, what's the one thing that you want people to walk away with after hearing your story and your experience? How can they infuse some creativity or what's a lesson for them out of this?
I would say the biggest lesson is to lean into your fear. And I do it reluctantly every day. Everything is scary. But this is the thing that keeps you from being your best self, is you're afraid of what people will think of you. You're afraid of losing your identity. I had just gotten a promotion as a professor and left because I wanted to be a fashion designer. And that's scary. I left my whole life, but I've done it before because, it's just the crazy in me, I suppose. But you have to be fearless. You have to be like, okay, I'm afraid, but let's go anyway and let's see what happens.
So if somebody is interested in being fearless, being more creative, thinking about being a different sort of leader, showing up in a different space, we'd love to invite you to reach out to Dionne. You can reach out to her through our website or through the info@brighterstrategies.com. Dionne, any final words, any final thoughts you want to leave our audience with today?
I would just say find some joy in your life also. Find joy. This is a big thing that we talk about in coaching as well. Like, it's not just about work. You're not here to just work. But if you're a joyful person, your team will be joyful and you all will have more fun. Work can be fun. We have fun. You and I have fun.
We do. We have a lot of fun here at Brighter Strategies. Thank you so much for carving out time to chat with me. I appreciate it. And again, thank you for those who have listened. We'll be back next month with another conversation with another one of our amazing coaches.